Now then, how you doing? Actually, I don't need these on, do I? I was just listening to. I was just listening to Tyson Fury. Listening to the post-fight bants between him and the rest of his team. I do like Tyson Fury. I think he sort of he's all primary colours. Tyson Fury. He's not. He doesn't try to pretend to be a man of letters, and I like that about him. I don't think he's pretentious. Um, he's entertaining to watch. I seen a video of him on social media the other day where some blokes went up to him while he was on holiday and tried to sell him two lobsters for like €200. And he said, "I'll just give you the €200, fling them in the sea." And he went and threw them in the sea. And he was like, "I've done a good deed there. I've stopped them getting cooked." And he's like, "I'm going to have a steak now." And I was thinking, you know, for a fact that like some pretentious Guardian reader will see that and go, "Oh yes, well, doesn't he know that a steak comes from an animal as well?" And I just don't care about these people. It's like they love to overthink everything and point out when strong men err. But you know what I mean? But I don't care. He doesn't think too hard about things. He just lives his fucking life, and he seems to enjoy himself doing it. And I think we can all take a leaf out of that guy's book with regards to that. You know, if I could give all the people that listen to me good advice, it would be that. Which, I mean, obviously, there's people who've got letters after the name who are much better at talking about mental health and the like than I am. Chris Thrall's better than me at it. He's obviously done training and stuff. But, you know, the point I would always give to people is that life is too short to worry about the minutiae. I know it sounds ironic coming from a bloke who's got a YouTube channel about minutiae, but I would argue that politics isn't as. Of all the things you can worry about, obviously what you should be doing is worrying about your wife and your kids and your families or your husbands. And I just know my audience is predominantly male. That's YouTube as a platform, isn't it? But, you know, like I always say, you should live your life. Hug your spouse. Play with your kids. Enjoy yourself. Go out on the piss with your friends. Politics is a distraction, an amusing distraction. It's better than all the rest of them, right? Because I will make this point. At least watching my channel and whoever else your political commentator of choice is, at least you're getting involved in real world policy. It's more important than Netflix. You know, it's better than just playing video games or watching TV. But even this, it's not the summation of your life, your life's work. You shouldn't get so excited about fucking politics that you become a miserable bastard. And I will say, despite the name and the rants, at heart, my channel is still a comedy channel. I try to be humorous most of the time, even if I'm pissed off, right? Hence the childish insults of Kamala Harris yesterday. But people need to just get a fucking grip and stop being fucking naysayers. Because that's the first thing I sort of thought when I seen that video. I was like, you know, the lefty naysayers just love seeing stuff like that and going, "Oh, technically, you know, I'm playing with this thing because I've got a sore wrist." It is not an unidentified wanking injury because I'm past 40 now and I'm married. That doesn't happen anymore. Well, maybe if she goes to the mother-in-law's for a week, but typically that doesn't happen anymore. So please, no wanking jokes. I'm assuming it's arthritis or something because I'm in my 40s. Maybe it's gout. I do get gout. Anyway, let's not talk about my health issues. I haven't got any, to be honest. Other than the fact I've got a fucking friction burn on my head. I don't think that counts as a health issue though. I'm as fit as a fiddle, really. This is what I always advocate, right? It's a nice 5-2 split between living like a monk, training every day and being healthy, and then binge drinking. I find that's a nice happy medium. It's good for your head and it's good for your heart. Your heart, not your art. I'm not talking about Picasso. It's weird though, isn't it? I don't like, if I try to pronounce my H's, I always feel like I'm being posh. Hotel. I also feel like, like I said, you've got halitosis. I feel like posh people overpronounce the H. Hotel. At. Do you not self-love? No, Kate, I don't. I'm a man in my 40s with a younger wife. I don't have the time for such things. She makes demands of me. Anyway, I'm in training. Yeah. Maybe it's that. With the haircut, you've got living like a monk down to a T. Well, again, that's because I'm a tight fucker and I get my missus to do it for me. It's not too bad. I mean, you can't exactly fuck up a crew cut, can you? Right. Oh, yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. I got a lot of hate yesterday. I think that was my highest. I think the dislikes were in 2 figures. So I'm assuming that obviously 9 out of 10 was one person. Like it seems to have been since the inception of the channel. But there was obviously a couple of people weren't happy with my tolerant, middle-of-the-road attitude towards the peace process in Northern Ireland. Everyone, each to their own, right? I'm not going to judge people who are... Like I said, I went through that process myself. I was very bitter and angry about it. I'm not going to judge people, but like it because I get plenty of hate nowadays, apparently. Who beat you up, Richard? No, I didn't. That, as I explained earlier in the week, that is an unidentified drinking injury. I don't know how many fights you've ever been in, but fists don't knock eyebrows off. That appears to have been road rash from headbutting the tarmac at some point, like a proper degenerate pisshead. That's not what I am. You can probably tell because my nose isn't like, it's not as red as fucking Mick Jagger's bell end. I don't drink that often, but when I do, I binge drink. And last weekend, I was drinking quite happily, tipsy as you do, about 8 pints in, and then I started drinking some weird American IPA that was fucking 10% or whatever it is, and I went from being merrily drunk to physically can't walk anymore. I don't remember exactly how many times I hit the fucking deck, but it was more than once. And then I went, fuck this, and fell asleep. I crawled into a grass verge and went to sleep. So yeah, didn't get beat up. There's nobody in this fucking town can beat me up. In California, it's impossible. Impossible. I'm kidding. I don't think I'm Tommy 10 balls. But yeah, I didn't get filled in, no. All right, passes in. Superman's son now wears his underpants back to front, but still over his tights. Back to front. Yeah, you know what I didn't like about that? How shit the artwork was. When I was a kid and I used to collect comics, the art was fucking class. The picture of Superman necking on with his fucking purple-haired lover was just like, it looked like it was half finished, like 2 people with their head fucking glued together. It looked like Siamese twins. So that was shit. It's just fucking... The thing that really annoys me about this whole thing with the comics is, I think like I've told you guys before, who is Susan? Chile can answer that question, but I'll tell you, Nikki. Susan is my nemesis, and Paz's nemesis, and Rotten Politics nemesis, and anybody else who's got a small, not communist channel. Susan is the arch nemesis of every sensible, freedom-loving person on YouTube because she artificially fucks our viewing figures, subscriber accounts, and doesn't share our gear with anybody. So that's who Susan is, and that's why I hate her. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the news, shall we? Instead of just talking bollocks like I always do. This one I find quite hypocritical. I think people that have followed Peter Hitchens' career will probably be well aware that he is of the opinion that the British government has constantly and aggressively hounded the Russians, probably at the behest of the Americans, to the point where it's not actually rational. Because the Russians, for all of the faults, aren't the big fish in the fucking pond that we need to be worrying about. And individual Russians, just like individual Americans or British people, are not fucking bad people. The idea that we should constantly poke that Russian bear with a sharp stick rolled in dog shit is laughable. And it's something we need to address. Because the propaganda is unending. And I don't understand why we want to antagonise Russia. All we've done since the fucking end of the Cold War is antagonise the Russians. They lost the Cold War and they know they lost it. They now have an economy that is smaller than fucking Italy's. Italy. And what are they going to do? The only thing the Italians are good at is cheating on the wives, dancing and drinking wine. They're not going to take over the world. Russia lost the Cold War. To constantly beat the drum about Russia when the European Union have been pushing and encroaching their borders and slowly chipping away at Russia for the last 30 years, you can see why they're understandably a bit annoyed. And to keep hounding the Russians when the fucking Chinese are massive and terrifying defies all logic. It doesn't make any sense. Swapping sides, two-tone. Yes, they are good at swapping sides. I always remember reading a class. You guys know Viz is one of my favourite magazines. I think a lot of my humour comes from the Viz because I've been reading it since I was about 8. And I've got a sort of almost, I nearly said pornographic, photographic memory. Not a pornographic memory, no. I'm British. I've almost got a photographic memory for Viz. So a lot of my euphemisms and colourful anecdotes come from the Viz because I've read it since I was a kid. And I remember there was one in there. And they used to do these fantastic, you know those shitty polls you see in women's magazines? Like, my nana would read them on a Sunday and you'd flick through it and it says stuff like, how good of a spouse are you? And there's 3 questions and there's always A, B, C and you pick them all. And then at the very end, you tot up your score and it says like, mostly A's, you're a terrible spouse. Mostly B's, you're an okay spouse. That type of shit, right? And they did a European one. This is before we joined I think it was in about the mid-1980s before we joined the common market or something. And for a laugh, they did an EU poll. And it was, how European are you? And there was like 12 questions. And every question was a stereotype about Europe, and it was funny as fuck. Viz is woke now. I know, Alfred. I know. Everything's woke now. Everything. Like I said, they're trying to antagonise people on purpose. It's not a good thing. It's yet another thing Jordan Peterson's going to be proved right on, isn't it? Because Jordan Peterson was saying, obviously, when he first hit the headlines, that the real problem with playing these identity politics games was that you're only going to antagonise people and you're going to drive people into camps. I actually mentioned it on Twitter. And I'll find that in a minute before I go off on a tangent and don't finish my anecdote about the Italians. This quiz in the Viz that had a different stereotype for every country in Europe, they were all taking the piss out of them. So, one of them was like, you're driving along in your car and someone cuts you off at a junction. How do you respond? And it was like A, tut, and say nothing. And it was like B, possibly shake your fist at them in a moment of rage. And it was like C, jackknife your car across the central reservation, leap out and start banging your fist on the bonnet of the car, shouting "Bastardo, bastardo, mamma mia, bastardo," like an Italian stereotype. Viz was funny, yeah, Stephen. In the 80s, if you go back and get the old books, I still own all the old annuals, like The Dog's Bollocks, or The Fish Supper, or the sort of 80s and 90s era ones. The Viz was fucking quality. It was funny as fuck. And they were always taking the piss out the Italians. And then another one of the questions was, you're playing a game of football, a friendly game of football, and your team's losing 4-0 at half time. How do you respond? And it was like, A, do nothing, you're sure to lose now. And it was like, B, dig deep and refuse to yield. Hopefully you can pull your socks up in the second half. And then it was like, see, change jerseys and join the opposite team. So when the next half starts, there's 22 members on one and 2 on the other. It was obviously taking the piss out of the Italians. But yeah, the old albums are class. I thought the first 10 were fucking bang on. The big pink stiff one, I think, was the first, or the second. So yeah, they are good. Yeah, in Italy, the road rage is mental. You know, even my wife made that assessment when she went to Italy with a friend from California. She said they noticed it was tangible, the difference, flying into Heathrow compared to flying into Rome. Because when they flew into Rome, she had the second the wheels touched the tarmac, everybody on the plane was sort of up going, Mamma mia, bastardo, mamma mia, like fucking go mental. Like as if the queue we talk about the Germans not queuing, the Italians are as bad. And she said in Ireland and England, like, you know, there's an orderly queue, just naturally forms. But the Italians, it's fucking organised chaos. And I've talked about this before, my mate Federico, he jokes about it himself. He sent me loads of different memes over the years, and he sent me a video on YouTube. I did share it a couple of years ago, I think. The difference between the Italians and the rest of the EU. So the Italians are a good crack. They know what the failings are, and they joke about it just like we do. But yeah, that's the eye ties. Not a cold, sort of stolid, logical people, the Italians. They're a very passionate bunch, aren't they? So yeah, dragged me off on a tangent there, talking about Italy. I don't agree with us antagonising the Russians. You can see why the Russians are wound up. The EU have been sabre-rattling for 30 years, but most of the pushing appears to be coming from the Americans, the Brits and the Europeans. It's not right, not when the Chinese are fucking getting ready to cave our shit lockers in. So, there is a big threat from a communist country, and it isn't the fucking Russians, who are ultimately they're not what they were. The Russians lived through Stalin. They know what it's like. They have long memories. Putin and the Russians are not something we should be shitting our pants about now. You get rinsed for being part Wapanese. I'm sure. It's how we bond, right? So yeah, just look at the language the BBC is using here. It says Russia has denied using energy as a political weapon amid surging prices across Europe that sent gas bills skyrocketing. Russia has been accused of intentionally withholding supplies. Well, I'll stop you there. Does a man under a capitalist system not have the right to own that which he creates with his own 2 hands? If the Russians have got natural gas supplies and they're, unlike Bungalow Biden, with his ridiculous backwards leftist policies where we're leaving gas in the earth, we're leaving oil in the earth, we're stopping working on pipelines, we're not doing what we know can free up the energy that we need. We've got the resources, we're leaving them in the fucking ground because our leaders are enthralled to woke communist ideologues who flip the fuck out when you do what needs to be done and mine the resources to convert them into energy that your people need to keep running the bastard country. So don't tell me when they're doing what needs to be done and we aren't, that somehow it's Russia's fault. If I was a Russian fucking gas type billionaire, I'd be like, fuck the European Union. I don't even care about the money. Fuck them. All they've done is took the piss out of my country and me for the last 30 years. And you want me to what? Sell them it cheap? Move heaven and earth to do the European Union a favour? We should be fucking pleased and amazed that the Russians are being as sound about things as they fucking are. Because our leaders are toxic. They know what they need to do and they do the exact opposite. Playing political fucking games, pandering to woke leftist shit cunts when they know we need energy. We need it. We need oil. We need gas. And we have it and we can get it. But we're not getting it because, and this is the kicker, which should offend anybody fucking listening who's got an IQ slightly higher than that of a fish finger, right? Because this is the kicker. Because we all operate on planet Earth, all we're doing is outsourcing the creation of emissions, but the emissions are actually higher than they would be if we just fucking did it. Because when you outsource things, I'll give you an example, right? If you can just create a product in England and you make the product using oil derivatives in England, yeah, you cause carbon during the manufacturing process, and you cause carbon when you burn the oil and when you process the oil for use for energy. All of this causes carbon, right? But when you do the exact same process in China, and they do all the same shit except probably dirtier because they have less environmental regulations, and then finally the product's finished, and then you load the product onto a fucking legion of diesel burning boats and ship them all the way around the fucking world and offload them in Teesside, right? Do you think less or more carbon is being created by that process? I'll give you a moment to think about it. All right, done. It's fucking dirtier. Rocket science, I know. Rocket science, I know, but that is literally what they're doing. They're playing a game, especially in America. Especially in America. We had almost total energy independence. We had more oil and gas coming from the fucking earth in North America when Trump was in charge than we've ever had. Thousands of barrels of oil every day were coming from North American reserves. The Keystone Pipeline was getting built. Shale gas was getting fucking fracked. We were energy independent. And these dumb fucks, these self-serving shitbags that run our countries, playing this woke game because they're mad with power, shut it all down by choice to outsource the emissions to other countries. But all of these countries are still on planet Earth using the same fucking ecosystem. So to outsource the problem to Russia and China or South and Central American countries and then get the energy off them actually creates more emissions than just fucking doing it yourselves. So Biden especially fucked the economy up, cost 50,000 blokes the fucking jobs, created more emissions, but on paper can go, look, we've brought our fucking emissions down. It's the fucking maddest thing I've ever heard in my life. You have to be a fucking plank to think this is logical. It's so fucking ridiculous. So this is what said my scorn for them. We've caused this. We could be fracking. We could be drilling. We could be refining oil. And instead, we're paying other people to do it. And when the other people don't do it fast enough or sell us it cheaply enough, we go, fucking hell, you horrible, sneaky bastards. What are you talking about? They should use it as a fucking political weapon. They should. Does that make me a fucking traitor? I want Russia to use energy as a political weapon against the European Union and the Brits. Sorry, ladies and gents, I'm sure you sensible bootketeers know how to do your personal administration so you could tough out a fucking rough winter. Me and my missus, we're just tight bastards. We have sleeping bags and fucking snug pack jackets. I never put the heating on because it's not efficient. I think I talked about this when I was in Nottingham. I'll just sit there in a big fucking green costume, sweating like a rapist because I'm too tight to put the heating on because it's not efficient. So I'll be fine whatever fucking happens. But I want them to use it as a political weapon to show our leaders for what they are, fucking morons. Outsourcing the emissions and creating them anyway, creating more of them to make a shit political point. So fuck them. This bullshit propaganda. Look at a few photos of Putin looking mean. Fuck off. It's ridiculous. And he isn't not sending gas west. For starters, he's just not selling it cheap enough and not doing it quickly enough for your liking. Some communist fucking ideologue who purposely turned the fucking energy off on purpose to fuck everyone just to make a cheap political point, to bend over backwards and take it up the arse from some shit for brains, AOC style Greenpeace fucking crusty, smelly shitbag hippie. I mean, are you kidding me? How the fuck can they spin this into being Russia's fault? Analysis by Steve Rosenberg hasn't got the fucking brains he was born with. But could another factor be Russia? No. It's the dog shit policies of our dog shit leaders in our dog shit countries, bending over backwards for fucking leftist shit for brains. Punish me, Vlad. Yeah, punish me. Fucking right. It's character building. Putin probably is more capitalist than fucking Boris. Boris is an absolute twat. The spineless albino jellyfish. He's got less backbone than a fucking one of those inflatable rubber tubes you see outside the car dealerships in America. It's just a fucking weasel. So this is bollocks. Politically motivated tittle tattle, says Predator. Yep, well there's me agreeing with fucking Mr. P again. Totally is. Politically motivated tittle tattle. And the fact that we're having an energy crisis and people aren't fucking working is because of politically motivated tittle tattle. We've got the oil. We've got the gas. We have the power to fix this ourselves. And we're putting people on the dole and making queues at the petrol stations and fucking people's lives up and making them miserable by choice. President Biden did this on purpose. And he should cringe with shame. But he won't, because they're all shameless. Biden and fucking Harris. Harris making them videos is obviously shameless. But Christ on a bike, like, the president knows what he's talking about there. Politically motivated tittle-tattle. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually a bit concerned about saying this, because in this fucking country now, you don't know what they're going to do. When we know they weaponized the IRS. I'm sitting here thinking, if Susan fucking sends Kamala my video, they'll send the fucking boys round. Because that's what commies do. They think they can do whatever they want, don't they? Our current leaderships, when they're pandering to these left-wing ideologues, they're more communist than this fucker. And apparently, we're all supposed to be scared of the Red Menace coming from the east. We should be worrying about the Red Menace that's running this bastard country, who's turning off the gas and turning off the oil, even though we've got it right fucking there. We're sitting on top of it, and we're not allowed to have it. Because Greenpeace says so. Who the fuck voted Greenpeace in? It's even worse in the UK and the USA than it is in most of Europe, isn't it? Because in our respective countries in the Anglosphere, Canada as well, and Australia, they're just not really into communism. But for some reason, they'll run under a banner. Like the Conservatives in England are still the worst. Still the worst. At least the American Democrats tout themselves as the left-wing party compared to the Republicans. This is what I've told you guys before. In Britain, you're in the shit more than we are. Because yes, we've got left-wing ideologues making our leaders dance to the tune. But at least in America, there is an alternative that is right of the current shower of shit. So Biden and Harris and that, I just have total and utter scorn for them because they don't believe in anything. Biden's been in politics 50 years. Kamala Harris was like fucking Robocop when it suited her. They're not left-wing. They're just political animals who will believe anything and say anything and do anything because they think it's popular at the time. But Britain's even more fucked than America. Because when Biden and Kamala Harris go for re-election, they're going to be running against Republicans that are proudly right-wing. Ted Cruz, I've got all sorts of issues with Ted Cruz. I don't like any of the Bible thumping that goes on with the American conservatives. But they are demonstrably and openly and avowedly conservative and right of the alternative. There is a conservative alternative to those people currently in power in the United States. So you just have to fucking ride it out and hope for the best at the next set of elections. But in Britain, you lads are fucked. You lads are fucked. The Conservatives are the lefty arseholes. So what's the alternative? Unless somehow there can be a political uprising the likes of which we've never seen in human fucking history, you're fucked. Because I don't see how with the airwaves, the radio waves, mainstream media, all of the fucking newspapers, right? All of them. Because think about it. The right-wingers in England are pro-conservative who aren't right-wing or conservative. So in the UK, you're totally fucked. Totally fucked. Again, think about it. America. Fox News is actually right-wing. What have you got in Britain? What have you got? The Sun, The Telegraph, The Economist. The Economist's fucking left-wing now. That thick twat. What's the ginger bird called who pulled a Kathy Griffin on fucking Jordan Peterson? I listened to that. Christ almighty. That was some listening. Google The Economist, Jordan Peterson, and listen to that fucking interview. It was Kathy Newman, Mark II, that. Some fox piss guar was interviewing Peterson, and it was as fucking daft. So, you're totally fucked in Britain. Totally fucked. 100% of the mainstream media are on the side of the leftists now. So what are you going to do? Here in America, we can pull it back from the brink. If we just wait till next year and the fucking Republicans thrash the fucking Dems in the midterms, it's on. We've once again got a conservative party. And they are conservative. Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Again, I have all kinds of issues with them, but they're fucking conservative. In England, you've got lefty, you've got far left, SNP, far left, Greens, far left, Lib Dems, far left, Labour, slightly less far left Conservatives. Like, what are you going to do? And as for the fucking media, like I said, what have you got? BBC, far left, Guardian, far left, Channel 4, far left, Sky News, far left, GB News popped up. Every time I turn the fucking GB News on, that Benjamin Butterworth's on there talking about sucking blokes off. I don't think that's a fucking centrist right-wing platform, is it? There just isn't one. They love... Yeah, every time you turn GB News on, they're on about cock. Oh, it's class. Batman's giving his fucking boyfriend a hand job. Not Batman, Superman. And also, how's Superman going to pull a bloke off? He's fucking Superman. He'd be like, the pubes would burst into flames and he'd fucking send the bell end into orbit. It doesn't even make any sense. How can Superman be gay? He's going to ejaculate and blow his fucking boyfriend's brains out. He'd be like, yeah, bosh. Blows his load, redecorates the bedroom in fucking brain matter grey. Superman can't be gay unless he meets another Superman. Yeah, that little pink-haired fucking Asian that is his new boyfriend, he's going to spatter his fucking brains all over the place. It's a terrible idea. Anyway, so yeah, you guys are fucked. Gay Superman aside, you guys are fucked. Britain is seriously in the shit. I don't want to sound like Peter Hitchens, red-pilled, miserable bastard, but if you can get the fuck out, get the fuck out. Move. I don't know what else to say. Move. That is the ultimate black pill. Fuck it, move. And I know people like Sargon like to say, oh yeah, but you can stay and fight. Hey, listen, discretion is the better part of valor. It's vainglorious stupidity to stay and fight when you know you can't win. I don't see how you can win. People like you guys listening, yeah, if 30 million people thought like the people sensible enough to listen to the Angry Bootneck shit were made up the electorate, then yeah, you could win, but you've got no fucking chance. Because most people, the 99%, are fucking idiots. They're either lefty cunts or they are milquetoast lefty conservative voters who once again in the next election will go, oh yeah, but Boris is all right, really? He's better than Corbyn. Fucking. So yeah, your choice, dear listeners, is left, 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 and left. That's it. Enjoy yourselves. Anywhere that'll fucking have you, Trevor. I don't even know. There must be some third world shithole we could all move to as like a community. Just fucking build it up, start from scratch. Our own little community somewhere. I think you're fucked. Honestly, I don't want to be a miserable bastard. It's shit. Not having any alternative politically is fucking shit. So yeah. Like I said, I do try to be humorous. This has been 50% humour, 50% whinging. It's not that bad, but I do think you have to really expect the worst and plan for it. Like I've always said, me and my missus are good for it. It's like I'm really, really good with my money. I save. It's dead easy for me to save cash. I don't buy jewellery, clothes, nice cars, shit. I just literally my entertainment is reading, listening to podcasts, going to the fucking gym, going for a walk. It's like you've got to start tightening your belts, keep fit, stay mentally focused. Don't fucking do drugs and turn into a fucking dickhead trying to numb it with something else. Have a pint occasionally. I think that's good for your mental health as well. But you need to start screwing the nut, because I think it's just going to get worse and worse in the UK until something fucking gives. So that's that. Don't can't go to Somalia. So see, I have an advantage. I'm from Middlesbrough. I think I'd fit right in Somalia. Be fucking sound. There'd be less dead babies on the walk to school in Somalia than there was in fucking Middlesbrough. So, you know, hey, I'm easy. But anyway, right, I guess that'll do. How far strong the volume's kicking in? I am a little bit quieter because my missus is actually in. So yeah, if I'm merely half annoyed, that's because maybe I am subconsciously being a little bit more tepid because I'm worried my missus might be on a conference call next door or something, and I don't want to blow anyone's fucking eardrums. Right, so that's that. I'll be back tomorrow. See if I can turn it up a notch then. What are we going to talk about? If you find any good stories you want me to personally opine upon, feel free to send me a personal message. I get quite a lot of them now. Now my channel's up to nearly 10k. I probably get about 10, 15 messages a day from fucking random people. If you send me anything good, I'll cover it. If not, fuck yous. I'll wing it, as usual. Thanks for listening. Like it and all that bollocks, and I'll see you all tomorrow, all right? Stay sane. Fuck 'em. All right? Take it easy.